Hey guys, welcome to a new video. My name is Prince Mason. Today we are going to be retouching this image of my sister's pre-wedding picture. So big shout out to the person that shot this image. Ahmed Mo, I wasn't present, I shot it. I did a part of the photo shoot, then Ahmed did this part of the photo shoot. So I'll put a link to his page in the description below, and I'll also put it on the screen here so you guys can see him. Go check him out, amazing photographer. Big shout out to the makeup artist Liquify. I'll put a link to in the description to her page, and I'll also put her page on the screen, so you guys should definitely go check out if you need to get some makeup done. Thank you so much for coming on such short notice, Liquify. Ahmed, you know how it is. I'm not going to tell you thank you for anything. You're my man. But anyways, let's get straight into this. Okay, so right now I don't know what to do with this image, but this image looks nice and sharp, and it was shot with the Canon EOS R5. I don't know what the camera settings are, but I don't know. Doesn't matter right now. We're doing a retouching video. So the first thing I want to do is remove blemishes, because that's the first thing I always do. And as you guys know, I don't know, blemishes are just this thing that it just kind of like takes away from the image, and you can't see it for the most part when you're just looking at a person, but it's so easy for you to pick it out once you've done a photo shoot. Isn't that crazy? Especially with sharp cameras. So we are just going to take out these blemishes, and I will be back. I might spend more time moving the hair around her head later. Probably should have done that from the beginning of the shoot, but you know, that's totally fine. We'll still fix that later. Okay, great. Now the next thing we want to do is work on the skin and just, you know, retouch it a little bit. Now, since this is a pre-wedding photo, and for the most part, if you are watching this, then you're probably into weddings and you have to deliver pre-wedding pictures constantly. You really do not have that much time to actually do micro dodge and burn, except you absolutely have to. But you know, I mean, I don't think you should do micro dodge and burn for pre-wedding photos. So right now we're just going to pick a mixer brush tool and just work on this particular image. So the last video I did, I kind of explained how to pick the right radius for your frequency separation, or somewhat the right radius for your frequency separation. So you guys should definitely go check out that video. But in that video, a lot of people were saying they can't actually see the sense on my mixer brush tool. So I'll put a link below or a card up here to that video. But my wet is 30, my low is 30. Your mix ahead does not really matter, so I just leave mine at 90 or 100. I don't know, but 90. Then my flow is 50. Now it's going to be different for you if you're just starting out. So if you're kind of new to this, then you might have to use reduced values so that you can just work your way into using bigger values. Now the amazing thing about the mixer brush tool is that it just does its job. It's almost like blending the skin, so you know, blending the highlights and shadows. That's just it. So I'm just going to get this done quickly and get this out of the way. Now there are a few things that you probably struggle to do with the mixer brush tool, and micro dodge and burn will be better, honestly. But for images like this, where you know, you, like I said, you have a couple to retouch, and you know, it's always like a really quick turnover. Okay, great. So let's see how far we've come. So this is where we started, this is where we're at right now, this is where we started, this is where we're at right now. So you guys can see it's not like we've done so much, but it just adds to the way, you know, like the subtle changes kind of like add to the overall vibe of the image. So I'm just going to run my mixer brush through just a few more times. Very subtle way. And let's see, that's our before, that's our after, before, after, and this looks good. So the thing that's going to bring your image out a lot more than your skin smoothing, don't get it twisted, your skin smoothing is really important, because the camera just, because of the high dynamic range of the camera, it kind of like separates the shadows and the highlights pretty well. So you need to smoothen out the skin, right? But another thing that is equally as important is your dodge and burn. So now we're just going to go to global dodge and burn, run that action, and pick our brush tool. By the way, if you want any of my actions, you can go get it. By the way, for your global dodge and burn, make sure you take your flow all the way down to like 3, 2, or 5, depends on what you're comfortable with, but all the way down below 10. Now, if you want any of my actions, you can go get my Retouching Essentials pack, and you get 14 amazing actions that help you retouch better and retouch faster. Or if you just want to get my basic and advanced frequency separation, you can go get that for free. My eyes and teeth whitening actions available for free. My skin tone lots, you can go get those. They are not available for free, but you can get it and support the channel. So yeah, let's just continue working on this image. So typically sometimes I just turn off my basic frequency separation or my frequency separation layer below my dodge and burn, so I can see how the original image was. So now I'm just going to dodge the highlights and burn the shadows and get him looking really good. And I'll do the same for her. Look at that highlight. Whoosh. That's what makeup artists do. Just give you that highlight. Okay, great. Let's get the hair. Let's get some of the hair. Okay, let's see what this looks like before, after. Ooh, look at that shine, baby. Black people just shine, like we just have it in us. We just shine. Okay, great. Now I'm going to burn this image. It's crazy, when I am actually retouching for YouTube, I don't do as much as I'll do when I'm just retouching on my own, because it just feels like when you're retouching for YouTube, there's so much pressure, you don't want to do anything wrong. Okay, great. So let's see that. That's our dodge and burn. Oof, they look really good. They look gorgeous. Okay, next I'll do just whiten their eyes. So I'm just going to click my eyes and teeth whitening action, run that. And I told you guys can get this action for free. I mean, it just works flawlessly. So let's just get closer. Just whiten those eyes. Okay, great. So let's see our before and after for that. Before, after. See, they look great. I'm just going to reduce the opacity just a tiny bit. Okay, before and after. Just going to paint this out. Okay, great. Okay, good. So ta-da, you can stop there, or you can decide to take it a step further. For me, I'm just going to take it a step further. You can see the background is a little bit rumpled here, so I'm just going to fix that. I'll pick my lasso tool, make sure I come down to my low frequency layer, and I'm just going to select the background and make sure I do not get any other thing apart from the background. Then I'll duplicate that, Command J. Then I'll go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and I'll take my radius all the way to like 100. So let me show you the before and after. See that? They're smoothing that out. Typically, I'll create a layer mask, pick my brush tool, make sure my flow is on 100%, black, and I'll just paint out of the edges so the color does not touch my subject. That looks really good. Next thing I want to do is just go up and take out those stray hairs that are just affecting me so much. Pick my clone stamp tool and make sure I'm on all layers and just see if this is going to work, and just take this out. But typically I advise you do this first. So if you have to just smoothing your background, there's any problem I have to smoothing your background, it's easy for you to do that. As you guys can see, I'm smudging this place up already. So I'm just going to zoom in and just take the strays out one after the other like this. And that way I'm not smudging out too much of the background. I mean, it's just easier when you sample from really close to the hair. Typically I'll come in here and still clean up all of this, but you know, I mean, I'm really tempted to do that right now, but we're just going to let it slide. Okay, great. So the next thing I want to do is just add some contrast to this image. So pull up my levels and just add some contrast to this image. Just so you know, dark skin loves contrast. So just add some contrast to this image by pulling in my whites and pulling in my blacks, right? Okay, great. Now, after all this, right? Let's see. Maybe we should just add texture to the background. So I'm just going to drag in one texture and see if adding that to the background is going to, you know, make the image look better. Okay, so this is texture. I'm just using my hue saturation, and I go to select color range. It would pick just what it's meant to pick, which is this. Then we can now just add a few more into it. Okay, great. So we've selected all this now and just click OK. And what I'm going to do is just make sure I take this out of her skin, every part of her skin. So it's just affecting the background only and not the skin. Okay, great. So I think we've done a decent job there. Okay, so now I'm just going to hold Option and just drag this down and click yes. So we now have that background, right? Doesn't look too shabby, doesn't look bad. Let's try a few things. Come down to this and let's see what darken looks like. Soft light still looks better. Overlay, soft light looks better. And now we can reduce that, and not just reduce it, we're actually going to add a blur to it. So filter, blur, Gaussian blur, right? And right now at 94, system is loading. It's probably going to take out all the texture, but let's just wait and see. Okay, yes, it took out the texture, so we're just going to pull this down to 4, take it up to 6, and we'll see what happens. You know, we just keep going up till we find somewhere that works for us. So somewhere around here works for us, somewhere around 19. But at this point, it looks like the background is just a bit out of focus. As you guys can see, the outfit here is a bit out of focus too. Maybe just pull it back in just a tiny bit. Not 13 is too much. 17 looks fine. So now we're just going to click OK, and you guys can see we've added some texture to the background. So right now it looks like a canvas and not just a normal background, right? So let's go to a hue saturation and see if messing around with this is going to, nope, not working. So take it back to 0. Take it back to 0. Okay, great. And let's mess around with our saturation just a little bit, then lightness. Take saturation back and just reduce the lightness at the background just a tiny bit, right? And at this point, I think I would just increase the opacity just a bit more to add that, so people can see that texture a lot more at the background, right? Okay, great. So let's see our before, where we're coming from. Let's see our after. As you guys can see, we're making quite a lot of progress. The next thing I want to do is just maybe darken the image a bit, like the background. So let me see if this is going to work. Did it stand out a bit more? Not really. Maybe just a little bit. Let's see. Before, after, before, after. Now I think when it was bright, it was still fine. So now what I typically do with a lot of my images like this is I add a vignette to it. So I'm just going to come down and add a vignette to this image. Maybe that's a bit too much. Okay, that seems like it'll work. Should we change our opacity to somewhere like soft light, reduce it just a tiny bit? Okay, great. And now we're going to create another layer mask. Pick a brush and make sure that their faces stand out just a bit more. Okay, great. Now we've made a lot of progress. I feel like I would like to add a vignette to the background. Let's see if that's going to work. Okay, great. I'll add a vignette to the background. Okay, great. And let's just add that vignette to this right here. So we have a tiny vignette at the background still. Still not sure about that though. You guys should not. Still not too sure about that, but I mean, I don't know if I like the bright background better or if I like the dark background better, but I'm just going to leave it the way it is, right? And just leave it this way. Maybe this works better. Okay, great. So let's see where we're coming from before and after. And these are the choices that you probably have to make when you are retouching, from scratch. And I feel like we've done a pretty decent job here. So, I mean, for a pre-wedding picture, before, after, look, our skin is glowing, everything looks nice. The last thing I'd like to do is, when you shoot portraits, typically, I feel like people tend to look a little bit bigger. So there are a few things you need to change. So right now she's resting her hand on her body, and this is going to make her hand look a little bigger. So we're just going to pull that back, pull this in. I mean, women love to look good, so don't mess that up for them. Okay. Good. Let's just see if we can throw one of my skin tone lots on this, and let's see how that looks. Let's see what's gonna work for her. 4, which is my go-to typically. It looks really good, but let's just see how the other ones look. 6. Yep, I prefer 6. 6 looks way better than 4. And for this particular image, yes, I can just reduce the opacity a little bit. Maybe just throw in my rich tones to see how that looks. I mean, there's a lot of contrast in the image already, right? So I don't know about that, but let's see. Nah, that's just too contrasty at this point. That's just, not bad at 10%, but not bad at 10%. That looks good. That looks really good. What I can do, create a new stamp visible layer, Command Option Shift and E. Now that I've created a stamp visible layer, I am just going to run my Liquify again that I did the other time, and it should work perfectly, and it did. So let's see our before and our after. Before and after. I feel like I've done a little bit to the makeup on the face that's making it not stand out as much. So what I'm going to do is just pull this up. My curves adjustment layer, Command I to invert that, pick a brush, set my flow all the way down to like 5, and then I'm just going to make this makeup glitter. Let's just bring this brush down to size, make sure my foreground color is white, and I'm just going to make this makeup stand out. Okay, great. And maybe her eyes a little bit too, because now that I've added a lot of contrast, the eyes don't look as bright as I want them to be. Okay, so let's see our before and our after. Look at that. That is an amazing pre-wedding photo. It looks really good. The colors are a little bit muted, but I love it. So we're just going to save this. And yeah, thank you so much for watching to this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to be partying this weekend. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to vlog anything, but I mean, if anything happened, then I'll definitely let you guys know. Thank you so much. If you want to support the channel, go to my digital store and buy something from me. It'll help me make more videos, and also I have some freebies there, so go check those out. I have some raw images that you can download, follow my videos, and retouch with me. I have all that in my digital store, so definitely go check that out. Follow me on Instagram too. My name is Prince Mason. Anyways, I'll see you guys next video. Have an amazing day. Peace out, guys.